It is finally time to get the greenhouse in order. I say that as if I have some enthusiasm. Of course, I'm a little tired. The gardening season is really coming to a close and I don't want to do the extra work. However, I have decided that I'm going to make my greenhouse look so good this year that it will be a creative, awesome, beautiful space to be in. So that is the part that gets me excited. Now, hubby's behind me, cutting down a little bit of a tree that is overhanging the greenhouse. I think he got himself tangled in the lights. I can barely see you the way the sun is shining right now. But we have to clear out around the greenhouse. We have to take our chicken wire off of it. If you remember, we had to cover over the entire greenhouse with chicken wire in order to keep the panels from blowing out. Whatever, more on that another time. But we have to do that. And then we have to replace some of the ceiling panels in the top of the greenhouse that deteriorated in 2 years. Holy cow, we got lots to do, but it's not all bad. Hi, you guys. This is Nicole from My Carolina Garden. My garden is located in growing zone 8B in southeastern North Carolina. So it's November and temperatures have only dipped into the 40s, the low 40s 2 times, but we're expecting that to happen again in about a week from now. So we have only that amount of time to do everything we need to do in order to get the greenhouse ready so we can start moving plants in. My greenhouse panels have arrived, and honestly, not a moment too soon because our temperatures are now going to be dipping into the 30s. So it's a weird time right now because it's my husband's birthday. We have friends from out of town visiting, and I'm like, hey guys, want to help put some greenhouse panels in because I got to do it now, or I have to literally take every plant that has been sitting there waiting for these to arrive and bring them in the house. So we're doing labor one way or another. But luckily here they are. So 4 of us getting the job done. I think it's going to go really quickly.
Yeah, can you do that? I can't if I can. Fuck up. What's going on? Let's see if we can get it up and over. Let me get a little closer. Perfect. That's it.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh gosh. Do you want the broom?
No, it's just stuck. Bye. There we go. Man, if they were zip tied together, would
We are losing light so very quickly, but we've decided we're gonna push on and get some work lights out here, I think. So we're gonna get as much done as possible because otherwise we still have to bring everything inside anyway. We still have some light, so this is as far as we've gotten, but we are gonna make it. We didn't even have to set up the work lights. So we got some plants moved in here so far, but I have like a few huge pots that Squeaky McGee over here that I will not be carrying in myself. So those will be the final things. Once the ceiling panels are done, all the panels in the entire greenhouse are done, and then we just got to carry in those biggies. So it's the cordyline, purple heart, a palm, and the bougainvillea. So here I am coming at you from inside the completed greenhouse. All the panels got up, and one of the questions I get asked the most probably is what my heating source is for inside the greenhouse. Now, I'm sorry if it's a little echoey in here, but it actually is freezing cold outside and gorgeous in here. So we are cozied up inside, and we are going to talk about the heat source. So for me, let's understand how heating the greenhouse works and insulation and all of those things that goes along with that heat source. I am in coastal North Carolina, as you know, at the bottom of the state, fairly mild seasonally. So we will get temperatures that drop, into the 20s, say, 25 degrees Fahrenheit. Occasionally it might dip lower than that, but for the most part, it's not overly freezing here. Our winters are fairly mild. It barely ever snows, that type of thing. I only have to run a heater at night, never during the day. The moment the sun comes up, this place heats right up beautifully. So I don't need a heat source to run all day, all night. So keep that in mind as we go through it. So this right here, this is it. This is my trusty heat source. This is my third winter having it. It is literally a ceramic space heater. I picked this because this was the most energy efficient option of the space heaters at the time that I was looking for a heat source. For me, I also have a dedicated outlet that is only running this, or maybe some string lights that are inside the greenhouse, but that's it. Now, I'm fortunate enough to have that situation where I have an outlet just for this, so I'm not tripping my outlet all the time. I know that's a problem for some people, or you don't want to put a strain on your system. I don't have those worries. So for me, it's the space heater. Now this one in particular is an oscillating one, which is super cool because I get to set it on a table and it is going to spin around the room. It also has an automatic setting where it will turn on if it gets below 60 degrees. Now, I wish it was more like 55 or 50 degrees Fahrenheit that made it turn on, but alas, this particular heater goes at 60. Now, you may be saying, well, you don't need to keep the greenhouse 60 degrees. It doesn't have to be that warm in here, and that's true, but I don't have another option for it. This is not programmable to a different temperature. And seriously, let's say it's 30 degrees Fahrenheit outside, and this little space heater is trying to do this whole greenhouse. The roof is quite tall. It's not going to be keeping the place at 60 degrees. It's probably going to be in the 50s at some point, or, averaging anyway. That works for me. I also have a little thermostat that I could keep out here, and the reader is inside my bedroom. So I could be looking at it inside my house, seeing how warm or cold it is in the greenhouse. So I know, oh my gosh, it's like way too cold out there or whatever. That hasn't been a problem for me, but the point is I can check from inside my house. So you know now what my heater looks like, and you know that it is on a dedicated line of electricity. So those are the two things to note. Now, how long will I typically run the heater? As I said, only overnight, but what I will usually do, because I'm a crazy person and I love my plants in my greenhouse very much, before I go to bed at night, I tend to come out here and that's when I click the heater to turn on. I don't let it really turn on at 6 p.m. Let's say if it's very cold out or something. I don't do that. So say around 9 or 10 p.m., that's when I click it on, and I will let it go for the whole night and do whatever it needs to do. But inevitably what happens is once the sun rises, things get warm in here really quickly. The sun is an amazing heat source for the greenhouse, and that sounds like, oh, of course it is. But it's strange because greenhouses are not like wonderfully insulated when you buy like a kit setup like I have. So I don't know. I want to say some things were a surprise. I didn't know at first when I bought a greenhouse 3 years ago that I needed a heat source. I didn't know that it wasn't insulated enough to then hold the temperature that I was setting it to and all of that kind of stuff. I didn't know that. But anyway, as I say, once the sun rises, this whole place heats up way warmer than it is outside. So I don't have to run the heat during the day at all. And because of the climate of where I live, I also don't have to run the heater every night, all night, every night. So those are the basics of my heat source. So as you can see, I got my cordy lines with my purple heart, the big, huge plants. The guys brought that in for me. My bougainvillea over here. So all of my huge pots are in here right now, but I still have smaller pots of things like begonias and diplodenia that aren't in here yet because I quite frankly wasn't sure if the greenhouse was going to get ready in time for our temperatures to drop into the 30s. They're inside the house. So I plan to bring those things all out. And my next step, honestly, I want to like make this greenhouse gorgeous. Like I want to beautify it and set it up so awesomely. So that's my next step. And I'm going to post a video about doing that, dressing it up and how it looks by the end. I'm going to post that before Thanksgiving because I want you to be able to see it, and it's going to make me so happy. So probably I'm going to post that video up on Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving, so you can see it. Thank you so much for following along on this journey about the greenhouse. If you have specific greenhouse questions, please continue to write them to me because like we could talk about that. I want to help you learn, and I definitely don't want you to go through the troubles that I went through with this. But again, the heat source was the biggest question that I got. So hopefully I answered that well enough that you understand. And then we're going to go from there. So next video is going to be about a beautiful, awesome greenhouse setup. Thanks again. And until next time, happy planting.